Hey guys, check it out. You're watching Jonathan Clarke on YouTube. Oh no! To be honest with each and every one of you, what's Jonathan Clarke up to this morning? I can't get the song Shown Like a Villain out of my head. I remember how popular that song was back in 2017 as part of Descendants 2's score, how wonderful of a job Sophia Carson did on the collaboration of this one, how much meaning she put behind it, how much attention was garnered by Sophia's performance of this song from wherever she performed it. I believe she did a performance at the holiday celebration of Shown Like a Snowman, which was the remake of that song too. It was really cool seeing how she could get into this and how much she appreciated that song, and I think that's why this song went on to become one of the most revered of all time and certainly one of the most catchiest. But you know, the more that I think about it, I know Ruby Rose Turner's time was very short-lived with the Descendants franchise, but that song Life is Sweeter When You Are was a bubblegum song that almost instantly everybody fell in love with, and I think that's what was so cool about that song. If you are somebody who loves the song Life is Sweeter When You Are, God love you, man, because you are some of the best fans in the world. If you can't stop listening to it, you can't stop snapping your fingers and dancing to it every day, that's something I encourage, and that's why I love seeing people subscribe here to this YouTube channel. So if you are somebody who loves your favorite Descendants songs, you can't get enough of them, hit that subscribe button, because I would love to know who you are, and I would love for you to join me on this incredible journey, because you guys have had me on an incredible journey for over 10 years. You do know that, right? You guys have really inspired me to create thousands of videos about Descendants of Zombies, which I intend on doing for the foreseeable future, because there is a future to talk about with Descendants of Zombies. Everything about the music, the script, the characters. We got to find time and appreciating it, and we've truly got to let these critics know how we feel about the future of Descendants of Zombies, because there is one to be so excited about, and I have never felt more honored to be the guy recording these videos for each and every one of you who have deserved the best Descendants of Zombies videos for a very long time, because I gotta be honest with each and every one of you. Just last night, before I fell asleep, I was YouTubing Descendants of Zombies videos, and to be honest with you, I was really upset with what I was finding. Some of you were trying to find out, how to draw your favorite Descendants of Zombies characters, which is really cool. I really value each and every one of your interests. I think it's cool how you're trying to find out how to draw your favorite characters. But when I YouTubed how to draw Descendants characters, I said, okay, let's look into this. Some of these videos were first uploaded over 7 or 8 years ago. That's almost a decade ago. You mean to tell me somebody can't upload a video on how to draw some new Descendants characters and new and innovative ways for you guys to feel inspired? Give me a break. This is why this guy comes in and he uploads videos with Descendants of Zombies every day for, as he proudly says, the rest of his life. And if you would love to be a part of that, you can always hit my subscribe button, because I've always shown a greater appreciation for every fan of Descendants of Zombies who have told me their stories about how they forever drawn inspiration from their favorite characters. Some of you love Red, some of you love Chloe, some of you even love Bridget. And hey, I especially love the Bridget fans, because I could never seem to get enough of Ruby Rose Turner. I always thought Ruby deserved better in life. And what I mean by better in life is she should inspire to be, more in love with other people than just Justin Bieber, because all Justin Bieber's going to do is take her to Best Buy, buy her a TV, and I always thought that Ruby Rose Turner deserved better. Come to think of it, though, I was at Best Buy the other day. I bought a 65-inch plasma, which I just installed in my office here, and primarily I bought it to watch the Rise of Red sequel, of course, Descendants 5, Book of Wonderland, this summer. Oh, man, that's going to be awesome. First thing I did when I hooked up the TV was I went on YouTube and I started watching Descendants music videos, and they blew my mind. It was QLED, man. My eyes almost fell out on the floor. So I know exactly what you guys are experiencing as fans of Descendants of Zombies. You think this is the coolest thing in the world. This is something you should forever and always enjoy, find time in appreciating, and the least thing that people on YouTube can do is really appreciate you for the fans that you are, because I think the greatest commodity ever is truly understanding your audience and really giving them what they want. If they love Descendants of Zombies, give them more Descendants of Zombies videos. If they love Phineas and Ferb, give them more Phineas and Ferb videos. Do whatever they want, and you will be perceived as one of the greatest of all time. Because to be honest with each and every one of you, that's what I've always wanted to do. Is I wanted to go down in history for being one of the greatest of all time. And I know that it's very difficult for a lot of people to understand, hey, Jonathan Clarke, why do you want to go down in history for being one of the greatest of all time? To be honest with each and every one of you, I don't know if I really want to go down in history for being one of the greatest of all time, just a guy who touched each and every one of your hearts for how he truly felt about Descendants of Zombies, because I really do believe that from the very first night somebody ever posted a review about Descendants of Zombies, you guys would deserve better. I remember reading some of the very first reviews that Descendants had received on, I believe, Rotten Tomatoes back in 2015. That would have been the night that Descendants first premiered. On July 31st, 2015, I've often asked this, where were you guys at? Were you sitting at home with your friends, so excited about the Descendants premiere because of the music you had heard about, the powerful script that we were first going to be introduced to? I got to be honest with you, I love the cartoony opening where Mal opened up the book, complained about having no Wi-Fi because I lived without any Wi-Fi for many, many years, and that's a nightmare in its own right. I can't imagine living on a deserted island without any Wi-Fi. Oh my God, I would probably die. But somehow or some way, your favorite Descendants characters did it for so many years living on the Isle of the Lost. And they come over from the Isle of the Lost, they go to Oradon Prep, they have a chance to achieve acceptance more than ever before. More people fell in love with them than ever before, and now they are some of the most revered characters in Disney history and one of the most celebrated franchises of all time. Again, going back to your guys' contributions, this is why Descendants of Zombies has really exploded, really taken over, because you guys have believed in it so much. From the very first moment you saw that opening dance number, rotten to the core, I think many of us knew this was going to be something special. And I think what we should have done as YouTubers is post more great reviews, and that's one thing I wanted to do. I said enough of this, these ridiculous reviews being posted on Rotten Tomatoes and IMDb and every other countless review website. I got to do something about it. And I thought, and I didn't know what to do. And then I called my friend and he said, "Hey, Jonathan Clarke, do you realize that you were a radio show host and YouTuber for over 25 years? Just create a YouTube channel that people will fall in love with, subscribe to you because of Descendants of Zombies, and everything will be cool." I said, "You're crazy. No one's ever going to love me for talking about Descendants of Zombies." And he said, "Well, give it a go." And we hung up the phone, haven't talked since, and I took his advice under consideration, and lo and behold, I created a YouTube channel for everybody who loves Descendants of Zombies. And they're all subscribing here. So he was right. He was a high school friend that I had. He was a science geek. He was always blowing stuff up in his bedroom, professing he was going to be the greatest scientist of all time. Bill Nye the Science Guy, I don't know ever what became of him. I think he went away and, pursued a career for himself. I'm still sitting at home a loser, uploading videos about Descendants of Zombies, but that's cool too, because something, one of the greatest honors in your lifetime is actually falling into a niche that will forever support you about how you feel about Descendants of Zombies and their favorite characters. And all these definitive moments that have made them fans of Descendants of Zombies. Over this last year alone, hundreds of people have shared with me their story about how they've drawn inspiration from their favorite characters and why they've loved Descendants of Zombies. Let me tell you guys something. You don't owe anybody an explanation as to why you're a fan of Descendants of Zombies. All they need to know is that you're a fan of Descendants of Zombies. And let's say you love Kylie Control. Well, if you love Kylie Control, that's where your heart has forever and always remained. And that's where your heart should forever and always remain, because you guys have been incredibly supportive of who and what you love. And that has everything to do with how you've known who and what you love for a very long time. Like for me, I've always known who and what I loved. It was Ruby Rose Turner. She was my favorite character. The color of her character, the color scheme with being pink, was beautiful. I thought her voice on every song on the Descendants score was absolutely gorgeous. I thought she deserved more praise than perhaps she was ever given. More attention, obviously, too. More reward accolades. Because I think that when you think about a character like Ruby, her time with the franchise was very short-lived. Oh, and to be honest with you guys, I really miss Ruby. I don't know how I'm going to live through Descendants 5 Book of Wonderland without her. And you're saying to yourself, "Hey, Jonathan Clarke, we have Red having a new sister. Her name's Leomani Segura. Have you seen any of her work?" Yeah, I have. She's a great girl, too. And I'm really excited to see what she offers to the Descendants franchise. Actually, really excited to see what kind of conflict will be presented as some of the consequences of time travel, because one cannot expect to mess with the fabric of time travel and not expect consequences. But the question is, what are those consequences going to be? If I went back in time now and altered the fabric of time and never had the chance to meet any of you, I would be heartbroken, because that was the greatest honor of my life. So, I don't think we should always want to alter the fabric of time. I think we should just be happy with what we got and what happened to us in our life, because, 30 years ago when I was starting out my career, 30 years ago, if somebody would have looked at me and said, if John Lennon would have looked at me or Avril Lavigne would have looked at me and said, "Hey, Jonathan Clarke, you're going to be crazy 30 years from now because you're going to be just gone there crazy uploading videos with Descendants of Zombies for this incredible niche," I would have said, "Okay, cool, Avril, call me in 30 years, because each and every one of you have really changed my life for the better, man. You've given me something to look forward to every day, hearing your stories about what's made you fans of Descendants of Zombies. I've truly drawn inspiration from this franchise. I feel as if the best way I can describe it for you is I feel like I've been on a journey for my entire life, discovering everybody's reasons and passions for being fans of Descendants of Zombies, and that's what makes this all worth it. I could be given so many opportunities from being a successful YouTuber, which I've become, or a successful radio show host over the last 25 years, because as many of you have probably known, I've been on the radio for forever. I was involved with the professional wrestling industry for forever as a journalist. I had the time of my life doing it, but I've never had this much fun. And, having fun with what you do is something truly to value, because when you have fun with what you do and you realize you touch the hearts of everybody from how you feel about Descendants of Zombies, because they feel the same way, because you may be suffering from a zombie apocalypse while you're trying to attempt to do it, which is kind of really cool, or suffering from a zombie infection, which I feel like I'm feeling this morning, because every morning I turn on this podcast between 8:35 and 9:05 a.m. trying to get something done for you guys, because I'm so dedicated to uploading videos about Descendants of Zombies, because I know how much each and every one of you love these franchises so much, which there is nothing wrong with it. I really wish there were more YouTube creators just as dedicated as what I was, uploading videos about Descendants of Zombies for each and every one of you who believed in these franchises just as much. Unfortunately for us, there aren't that many people who see the value in uploading Descendants of Zombies videos, and that's why you can't really find any, because I know that a lot of you want to know if Zombies 5 is coming out, if Descendants 5 Book of Wonderland has a definite release date. For sure, Disney knows what the release date is. What's happening, Disney? Quit leaving us in the dark, because everybody wants to know when Descendants 5 Book of Wonderland is going to drop. If the previous Descendants installments, if the release windows are any suggestion, I would predict that Descendants 5 will be released sometime between the lateral part of July, which means between July 25th through 31st, which would be kind of really cool if they released it on July 31st, because that would be reminiscent of the initial Descendants release back on July 31st, 2015, or August 2nd, which would be reminiscent of Descendants 3, which was released on August 2nd, 2019. And you're saying to yourself, hey, Jonathan Clarke, you know everything about Descendants of Zombies. How? Well, it's just about having an investment in Descendants of Zombies and thinking Descendants of Zombies is cool, just like each and every one of you. And you're saying to yourself, I'm going to subscribe to you because you know everything about Descendants of Zombies. Well, thank you so much if you are. Because one of the most difficult things for a YouTube creator to convince somebody to do is, of course, hit that subscribe button. And the only thing I've ever hoped with every video that I've ever uploaded is I hope I put a smile on your face with how I've shared with you my thoughts on Descendants of Zombies, my predictions, how I thought the franchise was going to go or how it was going to be perceived. Because I know everybody feels very differently about Descendants of Zombies, which isn't right sometimes, because nobody really wants to give this one much of a chance. But, there are millions of people who love Descendants of Zombies so much. I was looking at the Descendants official YouTube channel the other day, and they've amounted to over 1 billion views. If I had 1 billion views on this YouTube channel, I don't even know what I'd think. I think you guys were the most incredibly supportive fans in the world, and I still think you're the most incredibly supportive fans in the world. But statistically, when I was looking at the statistics yesterday, the only YouTube channel that is more popular than this one is the official Descendants YouTube channel with over 1 billion views and something like 2 million subscribers. So if I can put up 2 million subscribers, this will become officially the #1 Descendants of Zombies YouTube channel in the world, and that would be the most rewarding feeling ever, because you would know that you've touched the hearts of millions of people who have felt inspired by your content, who love Descendants of Zombies so much that you've shared your stories with, that they've shared their stories with in return. That's what makes it all worth it, is that you know that you've attracted thousands of people because of this niche, and how much this niche has meant to each and every one of them. Because honestly, guys, that is the most rewarding feeling that a YouTube creator could ever have, knowing that they've inspired each and every one of you. And I wish that more YouTube creators would really realize the potential that comes with Descendants of Zombies and actually sitting in front of your microphone, turning on your camera, and actually recording a meaningful review when it comes to Descendants of Zombies. Because one thing I was really excited about this past summer was having the chance to review the Worlds Collide Tour. I thought it was the most fun that you guys had ever had in your life. I thought you guys were the most incredible fan base in the world for really giving this meaning and life and showing it so much prestige and so much honor, and how much appreciation you guys had for every character. You guys screamed in that crowd like crazy, and you had every reason to scream, because you knew you were a part of something that was going to be special, that was going to forever and always mean something to you. And I'm sure you thank your parents after you saw it because it was the time of your life. You thought you guys had the most amazing experience of all time, and that's exactly what I wanted to have for you guys, was to have you see the most fun in your entire lives because of the Worlds Collide Tour. I never wanted you to go home and watch these ridiculous reviews on YouTube about how somebody felt about the Worlds Collide Tour, how this should have happened or that never happened, because many people did. And nobody ever really wanted to give it much of a chance. But I wanted to be one of those guys on YouTube that would take exception to that. And if I was going to post anything about the Worlds Collide Tour, I was going to give you hope for the foreseeable future. Hope that had everything to do with Descendants 5. Hope that had everything to do with Zombies 5, because Zombies 5 feels like forever away. I get that. You're saying to yourself, hey, Jonathan Clarke, just make a bunch of Zombies videos so Zombies 5 can happen quicker for us. We need you to be our voice of Descendants of Zombies. Well, if you feel that way, thank you so much, because I know that somewhere out there today there is some crazy fan about Descendants of Zombies who loves Descendants of Zombies so much. She loves everything about Descendants of Zombies. She wants Zombies 5 to happen quicker. Unfortunately, we got to wait a little while because we got to wait for a script to be developed, a budget to drop. There's a lot of stuff that happens behind the scenes for these movies. Believe you me, I know, because I've been involved with the entertainment industry for forever. Probably 1,000 auditions had to be gone through before Zombies 5 will happen, because of course they have to have new supernatural characters to play mermaids and witches and sirens, which are being suggested, which have somehow ended up in the conversation. We don't even know if it's going to be mermaids. They've been just teased, but one could be led to believe that it's going to be mermaids because Mila Manheim has been saying as the executive producer that there's a chance that mermaids could happen more than any other supernatural character that we have yet to see in the Zombies franchise. But I think that there is more of a chance for more supernatural characters to actually happen in this franchise than perhaps ever before. Because when you think about supernatural lore, there are so many supernatural characters that we have seen be a part of some of the most successful supernatural TV series and movies of all time. Like, you take that show Supernatural. That show's been on here for over 20 years before it saw its series finale. And that was forever they were on here. They're kind of like The Simpsons. The Simpsons, you take The Simpsons, for example. I know this is a really ridiculous comparison, but The Simpsons have just been renewed for 4 additional seasons. Ever since like 1985, The Simpsons have been on here. So they got on to garner over almost 900 episodes. So don't you think that a series devoted to Descendants of Zombies could go on to garner over 900 episodes? Because 25 episodes, that's how many episodes the reanimated series of Zombies actually amounted to. It was just 20 episodes. That's ridiculous. I mean, there's so much of a chance to create season after season after season that could consist of like 30 episodes. If Disney really wanted to take this one home, do something special with Zombies, take the reanimated series, bring back the original cast, allow them to sit behind the microphone, get paid big money to record their voices for these characters, and let them have the time of their lives. Because half the reason why all these stars are wanting to see their exit from Disney is because they don't have creative control. If an executive producer thought a lot about them like I do, then they would come in there, they would give them the money to run away with their characters, they would finance everything, they would take off the pressure off their shoulders, and they would just let them have fun. Because when you let them have fun, the possibilities are really endless. I really think there's an endless amount of potential that goes with people like Meg Donnelly, Mila Manheim, Ruby Rose Turner, Kylie Cantrell. It's just they're feeling a lack of confidence because of how Disney executives have made them feel over these last 10 years. I don't think that when they're doing PR for Descendants of Zombies, they should feel afraid to say something over a microphone because Disney's going to be pissed off. I think what they should do is they should feel happy about how far they've come, how much they meant to this franchise, and I think a greater appreciation has forever and always been needed. And together, we've shown that greater appreciation on this YouTube channel. It's never been about how they're not living up to a criteria of a fan because a fan believes in them so much. Because the love and support that I've received for every video that I've ever uploaded here on this YouTube channel has been nothing short of phenomenal, and I have each and every one of you to thank for that. I've loved the music, I've loved the script, I've loved breaking down the characters, offering you reviews and opinions on these characters that have forever changed my life, that have had such a significant impact on my life that it's really hard for me to put into words how much of a significant impact and how much of a role each one of these characters have had on my life and my very existence, because as many of you know, I'm heartbroken over the announcement that Ruby Rose Turner had parted ways with the Descendants franchise. It's really heartbreaking, but I know I'll get used to Liamani Segura some way or somehow being a part of this franchise. It's just, it's really hard for me to come to terms with it, but, she was my favorite character. I think everybody who's been a fan of Descendants of Zombies, there's a reason for loving their favorite characters so much. I think that, some of you may love the original cast, and some of you have left comments saying you do love the original cast, and I want to let you guys know that I feel the same for each and every one of you, because I don't think we should ever have to say goodbye to our favorite characters or our favorite storylines that we've fallen in love with, because I think that Mal and Ben's story meant so much to each and every one of our lives. I think the story between Red and Pink, which is up and coming in Descendants 5, is going to offer us something special and give us even more to believe in that has everything to do with the future for Descendants of Zombies. And to be honest with each and every one of you, it's a future that I'm really excited about to be a part of with each and every one of you. So if it's all right by you, I would love to continue to be your voice of Descendants of Zombies, leading you in to that unforeseeable future, which we don't know what has in store, but even though we don't know what's in store for Descendants of Zombies fans, that's what makes this future so exciting, and I'm just so honored to be a part of it with each and every one of you. With that having been said, thank you so much for having watched this video. You have been watching the latest episode of Jonathan Clarke Video Blogs, your number one source when it comes to everything Descendants of Zombies. Thank you so much for having watched this video.